Hi, today we're going to make a back to school card. So let's get started. I'm starting with a 4.5 by 4.5 square craft cardstock. And we're just going to stamp a background. I have this checkerboard diamond background from Hero Arts. And I'm going to stamp it in crumb cake onto this craft cardstock. And on background stamps I like to ink them upside down just so I could see the ink coverage and make sure it's covered. And I'm just going to stamp that on my background. Put a lot more pressure just to make sure it gets inked up pretty well. And you can see it kind of, it looks a little faded in the back. I didn't get pressure in the middle there, but that's okay for me. I'm going to stamp it one more time, a little bit off, and I'm not too particular right now about it lining up too much because it is just a background. Okay, so there's my background, and what I'm going to do is round the corners. I like the way that looks. I think in the future I'm going to buy that corner chomper so I can cut through both of these layers of cardstock at once, as well as give a bigger round, but for now I'm just using my little corner chomper here, my corner punch, excuse me, on all four sides just to round the edges of my card. So that's my simple background. Now let's get to the main image. I'm going to use black cardstock because I want to make it look like a chalkboard look, and I'm going to use Whisper White craft ink from Stampin' Up. And I'm using the Defining Alphabet stamp set from Stampin' Up, which comes with these nice little grid lines. So I'm going to stamp that in the white. And it looks really nice on the black cardstock. And I'm going to stamp it one more time. And I'm not going to use my stamp of a jig because this white ink will smear, so I'm just eyeballing it. And then I'm going to use the A from that Defining Alphabet set, and I'm just going to ink up the capital A. And what this card's going to say is A+teacher. So now I'm going to stamp that A on this top set of lines. Again, not using my Stamp-A-Majig, just because this ink will smear. Okay. So now I'm going to use my white gel pen and just write in the plus next to that A. And then I'm going to write in my very neat handwriting, following these lines like a child would when they're learning how to print. I'm going to write the word teacher. It's nice to have these lines to help me keep my print nice and straight. Okay, so there is my A+teacher. Now I'm just going to trim this off, and I'm just going to try to be careful not to smear my ink. So that's just one thing to be careful of with white craft ink, but you can emboss it if you like. But I didn't want to emboss on this card because I wanted it to look kind of faded, so it looked like chalk on a chalkboard. So I'm just going to trim this last side here. Okay, and then just to keep with the softness of a chalkboard, I'm just going to round also these corners. And it just adds a nice soft look to the card. So I'm going to do the corners of all four corners. And then I'm going to mat this on some Bermuda Bay cardstock. This is almost a non-traditional color for school. You may think of reds, blues, and yellows. I just thought it might be fun to introduce a different color than you would maybe normally see. And I like the way the black contrasts this blue. So I'm just going to place that, and again, try not to smear your ink, and then let me trim that again. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at my line and seeing where it's going to cut, and then I place it and then I cut it. Okay, and then now I'm going to round those corners as well, just so I don't have the round and then the sharp edge. And just for a look, it's totally a preference. Looks like I need to sharpen my punch a little bit. And the way to sharpen your punch would be to punch it through aluminum foil. That's a little tip there. Okay, so here's my sentiment there. And to add a little bit more to the card, I wanted to punch out a little bird. I didn't have an apple, which I thought would have been perfect. So I got this little bird from the Stamps of Life stamp set. And I am going to stamp that in black on this red Riding Hood cardstock. Cute little bird. And then I'm going to punch it out with this small scallop square I have. I don't know where I got this from, also I'm sorry. It's an old school one, again, something I've had for a long time. So I'm just going to line up my bird and punch, and you can hear that. It's a really old punch, but it fits that bird perfectly, so I like it. Alright, so now I'm just going to assemble. I got this little strip, again, still of my scratch paper. It had these lines on it, so I thought it matched well. So I'm just going to adhere that to the front of my card base. Sort of off to the bottom, I guess. And then just trim off the excess. Okay. Then I'm going to lay my main sentiment here on top. Again, I'm just being careful not to smear it, so I'm trying not to move it too much. And then I'm going to place that here, sort of in the center. And then my little bird, I'm going to put a little dimensional on him so he pops off the card a little bit. Peel that off. And I'm going to place him a little bit at an angle next to that A+. Okay, then just for a little balance and to cover, since my stamp didn't cover the entire top of my card, I'm going to put ribbon up there. So I have some black ribbon here. And again, I'm just going to tie a knot. And I'm not too particular about my knots. That is a little loose. Let me try again. So I try to hold it down with your finger, but I didn't want to get my hands in the camera, so I'll try it again here. So I use my finger to hold it down. Or you could use a glue dot. I've seen people use a glue dot. There we go, that's a little better. Okay, so just trim the edges. Okay, and then just to add a little bit of bling, I'm going to add these little library clips from Stampin' Up. And it comes in 4 colors, so I'm going to use this silver color just so that it really pops off of this muted color palette and makes it look a little more like a teacher card. So there's my card. I hope you like it and keep on stamping. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.